sit here and snap my fingers all day and listen to this. We're on stage at the Tropicana with a quartet of gentlemen coming us from Sydney, Australia, rolling the dice in a big way. This is human nature, left to right. Andrew Tierney, his brother Michael Tierney, Toby Allen, Phil Burton. Guys, good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the USA.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
But now let me ask you a question before we really get into the show. You're known is too small a word. You're huge in Australia. You're the Beatles in Australia. You wouldn't have to come to this country and still enjoy a phenomenal career down there. But you're rolling the dice. Yep. You're trying to make it in America. Is that a big risk for you, or is this like, hey, you're in a no-lose situation?
Yeah, I guess in some ways we've probably got nothing to lose. I mean, it's apart from our dreams being shattered, because it has been a dream of ours to, you know, come over and release our music in America and hopefully have an impact in the music scene here. So it's not a sort of a whim decision that we've made, and yeah, like you said, you know, things back home are really great, and we do big tours, and our, you know, the last 3 records, the 3 Motown records we've released have all gone to #1, and so I guess that we got to a point in our career where, you know, we wanted another challenge, and this is it.
This is the ultimate challenge. In this business, the ultimate challenge.
For sure.
Isn't it? All right, a little bit of background first. It's hard to believe because you guys are so young, but you've been together for 19 years.
Well, this year will be 19 years.
This is 19 years. What, you were in strollers and prams and you started singing?
Yeah, our mums used to meet on the street and we'd sing.
Cry in harmony.
Yeah, I would say you cried in harmony. How did you guys come together?
We all went
I
to
know how you two guys got
we're
together.
brothers.
Yeah.
But we all went to the same high school, and we did music at high school, and we were in choirs together, and it was just an idea of mine, actually inspired by the movie Back to the Future, because I saw there was a group when Marty McFly goes back to the 50s, and there was this song Earth Angel playing at his dance. So I had this idea to put a group together, and we were all mates, and I just thought, why don't we try and put together a DooWop group? And so that's how it started, and that was, like you say, almost 19 years ago.
So you weren't necessarily musicians, you were singers, but did you play instruments?
Oh, we all played instruments. We all played instruments at school. I mean, we've all learned piano since we were very young, like 4 or 5 years old. So there's that musical background as well. And we were, a few of us, 3 of us were in the school concert band playing brass instruments. That pretty badly, yeah. But no, so we had that musical background as well as the singing. So I think that really helped us quite a bit.
So you came together, you formed a group, and you were 4 tracks. You started out as 4 tracks.
We were, like we always say, we're heavily influenced by the 4 Tops and the Temptations, but it's the clearest when our first name was the 4 Tracks, based on the 4 Tops, and we had that name for what, 7 years?
About that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, about 7
Until
years.
you started recording, right?
Until we started recording, and then we didn't like the 4 Tracks anymore, so we changed it to Human Nature, and we've been Human Nature ever since.
So in the beginning, you started out doing DooWop, songs like Earth Angel by the Penguins. And what were some of the other songs?
Well, we didn't limit ourselves just to DooWop either. This is probably part of the reason why we changed our name from the 4 Tracks, just in case anybody who'd seen us perform Barbershop remembered us. We thought we've got to try and cut those ties, because we tried the whole Boda hat and braces thing, singing songs like Yes Sir, That's My Baby, and
wait a minute, I gotta ask you, come on, do you remember any of them?
I was actually a boy soprano at the time, so if we want to go back there, I'll have to go and have an operation just so we can do it.
All right, so we don't go back to the future too much then.
No.
But it was the DooWop stuff that, you know, was the stuff that we felt closest to. You know, it was seeing those groups like the 4 Tops and the Temptations up on stage doing their thing, and you know, it's been the basis of all our recording and everything since then is the harmonies that we bring to a song.
How natural did these harmonies come to you? I mean, did you really have to work at it, or did you all just find your level and go for it?
I think in a way we were kind of lucky that, you know, particularly the fact that we've been together for nearly 19 years now, I think that's a real indication that we did find something kind of rare and quite special. That, you know, we of course we do work hard at it, but I think there is that natural thing that just we were lucky to get in the first place, in that the 4 voices did blend so well. So over the years, we've constantly worked on trying to make that better and better. But I think the fact that we sort of just lock in, I think that's a really special thing.
So when you were the 4 Tracks, you were just going out basically doing what, club dates or like small venues?
We actually did a lot of talent quests, like around there's clubs in Australia, and we'd go in a lot of talent quests and sing different songs. We actually won pretty much every talent quest we went in, so it kind of kept us.
Then they wouldn't let you enter anymore. I'm guessing,
Yeah,
right?
we got to the point. It was like, no, guys, you can't enter again.
All the other contestants used to read the list of who was on it, and they'd see the 4 tracks and they go, oh no. So that was cool.
So obviously there came a time when you decided, all right, you know, this is nice, and we could probably make a little bit of a living doing this, but we need to record. And so how did you get a recording contract? I know you tell it during your show.
We actually, I left university, and the other guys all left university as well, and we just decided that no, this is what we want to do. So we tried to set up meetings with record companies, and we had one interested record company, which was Sony in Australia, and we just thought we'd put it all on the line, and they were interested, but we just thought we'd go in the boardroom and just sing for them. Anyone can talk, you know, but we just thought no one can sing like this, so we put it on the line, and it worked.
What did you sing? You got to give me like 8 bars of that. So you walk, let me guess. There's executives sitting around a table, and they're wearing suits and everything.
And these young guys walk in.
and you know, you walk into the room and.
Okay. Yeah, it was this song. All right.
From the top?
Yeah.
People get ready. There's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage just to get on board. All you need is faith. Oh, to hear the D's are humming. You don't need no ticket, no, just thank the Lord.
And at what point did they push the contract in front of you and say, all right, sign right here, you're going to become very
It
wealthy?
was pretty much on the spot. They actually.
Was it really?
Yeah, they offered us a deal pretty much on the spot, and like Andrew said, we'd been demoing a whole lot of original material as well. So it wasn't just the singing. There were, you know, some new original songs there that they liked as well, and they actually, I think they wrote out a contract on a serviette, like saying we will sell this many records, and everybody got really excited. So it was a dream start.
What did you do? You walked out of the office, and you know you're out on the street, and you've just been signed by Sony, which some people might have heard of as a rather large record label. What did you do?
Well, I know for me it actually didn't really hit home. Like, I guess we almost felt that, you know, we believed in ourselves and we should get it. Because, I mean, it was our first attempt at getting a record contract. It wasn't probably until, you know, a couple of years down the track when, you know, we'd seen friends of ours in the industry struggling to get a deal and struggling to get noticed that, you know, we realised how monumental it was for us to walk in and get it straight up. So. And
then the moment you started releasing albums, they started selling. And Human Nature went from being a group singing in little contests to a major concert attraction.
Yeah, it was amazing. Like, the first album we released was an album called Telling Everybody, and it was huge. Once again, like Toby was saying, we kind of just weren't used to it. We just thought that's the way things happen, you know. And then we toured with Michael Jackson, and we toured with Celine Dion. This was all in the first year, so we had some amazing opportunities and experiences that have probably helped shape the way we are today. But it all came through hard work, but things were really great right from the beginning.
All right, so you toured with Michael Jackson, you toured with Celine Dion as opening acts, but yet you never performed in the States.
I know.
Was that a calculated decision? Like, you know, we want to stay away from there?
Oh, no, definitely not. We would have been over here in a shot if we'd had the opportunity. Just through different sort of things politically, I guess, with record companies, it never seemed to work out that we got ourselves over here. So this chance came up to come over, and instead of coming over as sort of primarily with the records and saying, here you go, hope you buy these, we've always thought that singing live is the best thing that we do. So we thought, well, let's go over and try a different tack, and we'll go over as a live act and try to get audiences excited about it, and then from then see where it heads across to. So yeah, finally we got that opportunity, and we sort of grabbed it with both hands.
But before you could do that, you released the first of what turned out to be a trilogy of Motown albums. Why did it take so long from the time you started recording, your music until 2005, when Reach Out, the Motown record, came out? Why did you stay away from Motown in the recording studio?
Well, we actually had the idea, it was something that we'd thought of, a couple of years before we actually recorded that first Motown record. We were doing, in our live show, we'd actually do a couple of Motown songs. We did Reach Out, I'll Be There, and we did I Want You Back. We did a couple of Motown songs, and then in that, we just saw from the crowds when we did those, it was just such a great response from us performing these songs, and that it kind of gave us the idea then, this is something we could do, down the track, because we love this music. It's something we love to perform. Maybe we should think about making a whole record. And it was funny because our record company was a little bit hesitant at first. They didn't know, because in Australia, I don't think Motown doesn't have the heritage it does here in the States, but so they weren't sure whether a whole record of these songs.
It's still a popular sound, though. It's kind of global.
It's kind of come into everyone's lives through movies and everything.
So Sony was reluctant.
Yeah.
What are these 4 white guys from Australia? What do they think they can do? Sing Motown?
Well, that's the weird thing, and I guess it's part of the reason why I think it's charming, because it shouldn't work. There's 4 white guys from Australia, of all places, singing Motown. It's like, but it's been in our blood, and it's the kind of the Motown groups have been the school book we used to read from to become a vocal group. The moves. So we just love it and we respect it so much, and I think that comes across in the performances, and that's why it works.
So basically then the success of that first Motown record was really 15 years in the making, because you had been doing this music.
Yeah, that's right. It really was. And it was we just had to wait to make that record to come over to the States. It was all very planned, not.
Amazing.
But we discovered in the recording of the albums as well, it was, I think, because it had been such a big part of our upbringing and our formation as a group, the recording process was really, really fast, and the actual our performances in the studio seemed so much more effortless than maybe some of the pop albums that we'd made. It was all stuff that came very naturally.
At some point a decision was made, okay, we're going to do a follow-up album, and that resulted in Dancing in the Streets, which was the second Motown record. Did you really plan on doing a third, or was that just a happy accident?
I think the second one was almost a happy accident as well, in that when we were recording the first album, there were so many songs that we just had to leave off because there's too many Motown hits for one record. So while we were recording it, we thought to ourselves, this is so much fun. How great would it be if this one sells well enough that we get to do a second? And it did. So of course we were straight in to do the second one, and that was fantastic. And then we thought to ourselves, well, the word trilogy. The word trilogy has a really good ring to it. Like the Star Wars trilogy or the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So we thought to ourselves, well, if we're going to make a third one, we need to make it kind of special, a little bit different. And that's when we had the idea that we'd sort of be bold and a bit brave and a bit, crazy maybe, that we thought at the time, and approach the original Motown artists and see if they wanted to be a part of it. So we did.
And then next thing you know, Smokey Robinson.
Yeah,
that's right.
Perhaps people have heard of him. How did that little meeting come down?
Well, actually, it came about, we had the idea of the record, obviously. That was the whole theme of this record. The third one was to have the original superstars, and we had the dream of doing something with Smokey, and we got in contact with his management, and he'd actually heard of the other 2 records, because the first 2 had quite a few Smokey songs on there. And so basically he heard the records and he agreed to be part of it, but we wanted to meet him, and because we were going to do 2 songs with him, so we flew to LA and met Smokey and sang for him, and so we created a real great bond with him. It seems like it was a real respect. He loves what we've done with his songs, and we were just so honoured to have the opportunity to perform with him. And at the same time, we met Martha Reeves and Mary Wilson and the Temptations, and did all those duets. So it's really, we keep pinching ourselves that we've done it.
But Martha Reeves didn't go to Australia and perform with you, but Smokey Robinson did.
Yes, he did.
That's one thing that I still, am blown away by. This guy who's an absolute legend. First of all, doesn't need to be on our record, and he doesn't need to come to Australia to help this Aussie group, promote their record. But he was he was so wonderful, and it was so great to spend that time with him and hear some of the stories of Motown, and also share the stage with him. We did a couple of TV performances, and it was awesome. Having that experience of performing such an icon.
Did he ever say why he was so taken with what you were doing, or I mean, from what I'm thinking, he was happy that people are keeping that sound alive.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly it. I mean, I'm sure he did enjoy the first 2 records when he heard them, but I think the main thing, and we learned this over the time that we spent together with him, that he said that when Motown was formed as a company, Berry Gordy actually said, "We are not making music for black people here, we are making music for everyone. And in the future, everyone can listen to it, everyone can have fun, everyone can perform it if they want to." So for someone like Smokey, seeing a group like us perform these songs, it's not such a weird thing, because that was the whole point in the first place. It's out there for everyone. So I think for him, regardless of what type of group we were, if he enjoyed listening to what we'd done, he was happy to be a part of it.
And you decided to make a full Motown show out of it. The choreography becomes very important. Now, how big a part did choreography play in your shows prior to the Motown sound?
Well, we've always felt that movement was a big part of our show, because, like, the Temptations, like the Four Tops, the one never went without the other, and I think there's a strength in that as a vocal group to add that to your show. And we've always done movement, but when we decided to put a show together to represent the 3 records we made, we knew that we wanted to get the moves, not the same as what the Temptations or the Four Tops did, but influenced by that. And we have a blast. We've never moved so much as we're doing now. Like, I don't know how, we had a pedometer on, I don't know how much mileage we cover, but it's great, and the crowds just love it, so it's a thrill.
Well, when you started working out the choreography, I'm sure you weren't wearing the tuxedos or the suits, so it must have looked a little bit weird. You're there in your jeans and your sweatshirts and whatever.
There are actually a lot of moves. Like we have 2 guys back in Sydney that do all the choreography, Simon and Shannon, and have done all the Motown choreography for us. And there have been so many moves when we'll be doing it in a rehearsal studio, and we'll just be like, "Are you sure about this, guys? Like, this looks pretty whack." But it's probably not until you get the suit on and you're in front of a band on a stage and you do them, and they actually, it goes with the music, and it feels really great doing them.
Does it look different to you as you're doing it in your street clothes versus your stage clothes?
Definitely, yeah. Seeing sort of footage back of the show, with everything, it all comes to life, I guess. I mean, it's with any show, I think, too. I mean, when you're in that rehearsal stage, nothing ever comes quite together until you're in front of an audience and you've got everyone on stage.
Okay. In terms of recording, you've done the Motown thing. I mean, is there 4, or did it end with the trilogy?
I think it ended with, we can't top singing with Smokey Robinson and Mary Wilson, so we're going to leave it at 3. But America's hasn't even heard 1 yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
sounds like there's a game plan here.
Oh, I think the plan for us, the reaction to the shows here at the Trop has been amazing. So it kind of fuels our belief in ourselves, and just I think we'd like to spend a lot of time here and let everyone know who we are and what we sound like.
In the recording studio, though, what would be next? I mean, you've done the Motown thing, but what's next for Human Nature?
We're really not sure. Yeah, we're really not sure at this point, because all of our energy is based into this show and sort of getting our foot in the door in the States. So I think regardless of what it is, it's going to have a Motown influence somewhere. How can you not? We've done these 3 albums and basically lived and breathed Motown for the last 3 years. So I think even an album of originals, there's going to be some kind of Motown thing there, or even if it's another record of covers, it's just such amazing music that you can't help learn from it.
Do you have original material?
Oh, we've had the previous albums have all been original.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the first, like Mike says in the show, we've had 7 albums out now, and then the last 3 just happened to be Motown, but the first 4 were all originals, and which had a lot of great hits off them back at home. But just something struck a chord with us seeing these classics. And we actually, when Smokey was in Australia, I think someone asked this question, and we all looked at Smokey and said, "Oh, will you write us some songs?" And he said, "I'd love to." So you never know.
And I think there's actually more places in America than Atlantic City. I don't know, somebody told me that
Place
there's
called Las
a few more,
Vegas or
few more
something?
places out there. So, just to get around and travel around a bit and hopefully take the show to more places would be great, just to show people what we're about.
You're here at the Tropicana until March 1st.
Yep.
And where do you go from there? Do you have anything booked in the States beyond this, or is this like a situation where bring in the bookers, bring them in from all over the country, let them see what we do, and keep our fingers crossed?
It's pretty much that.
Yeah, pretty much. We're trying to as many people that can see this show, the better for us. And we will go back to Australia after we finish here at the Tropicana, but we're straight back on that plane. If there's something that's going to be happening here for us, we're dedicated to it. So yeah, hopefully I think something will come out of it.
I think actually Smokey said we can come and support him anytime he wants, so you might see us on stage in front of Smokey Robinson sometime.
Who appears very regularly in Atlantic City. Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to put you on the spot for one more song as we wrap things up.
Sure.
Andrew, Michael, Toby, Phil, thanks so much for sharing your time and your music
It's a
with us.
pleasure.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. Would you take us out?
Sure, we'll do, like I said before, when we met Smokey, we wanted to show him what we really did, so we took one of his old songs and did our own version of it. So, and he liked it.
It's all yours.
Dum, dum.